like I know you guys are there. I know that you're chatting, but unfortunately, I may not be able to see you. God has punished me. I guess it's because I was arguing with his besties on Twitter. I was having disagreements this couple of days, and my monitor broke. Right, so if you watch the thumbnail, that's pretty much how my monitor looks like now. Never had something like this happen before, but yeah, I woke up and there's like this huge black shadow, this black stripe over my monitor, and apparently you can't repair them. I didn't know this. I mean, technically you can repair them, but if I try to fix my issue, it will take around 20 something. Sorry, it will be like 80% the cost of buying a new monitor, and so it's kind of like designed to not be repairable, which is unfortunate, but also fortunate because now I can just buy a new monitor, I guess. And so I decided to buy a new one, but unfortunately they don't sell any good monitors in my city. um, if I want to get a decent monitor, I have to order it from a delivery company like Amazon, right? And so it takes 1 to 3 business days until I can get the replacement. So now I'm squinting at the monitor, trying to figure out what you guys are saying. And this is how I need to do my job because, yeah, if I take a whole 3 days break, then no one watches my stream. So I decided to stream now when it's dark because if it's dark outside, I can still see a little bit from the monitor. But if I stream during the day, then I don't see jack shit. Let me see if I can show you guys just how bad it is. Give me just 1 second. I think I managed to find something. Right. So the funny thing is, like, the first time I took a screenshot, I just did the normal thing of capturing my screen, and then I posted on Twitter. But like, because the monitor is broke, like obviously when you capture your screen, there's no problem, and people were saying, "Well, V, nothing wrong with your monitor. Like, what's going on?" And I'm like, "Oh shit, I'm an idiot." And so I took a picture with my phone, and this is how it looks like. There's this big black shadow in the middle of it, and I actually have to like move the screen to the light side in order to be able to see it. Right, like my monitor now has a light side and a dark side. I guess the advantage is that I may finally be able to have two monitors, although I don't know if I'm actually going to because it's it's so hard to see on this one. Like, it may actually stop being usable. Yeah, apparently there's this thing called a backlight, and the backlight may have gone off. Apparently punching these monitors doesn't work. I remember the old monitors, and if you hit them a couple of times, you went whack, 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 it would actually get fixed. But these ones don't, so yeah. I did some blackout curtains. I used to have blackout curtains, but I decided not to have them because I ended up having severe vitamin D deficiency. If you spend a lot of time in a dark environment, like in a basement, you get anemia, and you become pale. And so I was actually very tempted of constantly using the blackout curtains. And since I spend a lot of day at the computer, it's actually not healthy. Zanothium for some buyer's remorse and monitor fund. Well, thank you, Zanothium, but I already bought a new one. SRC Maker managed to help. And so I appreciate it. I'm not going to do like one of those YouTubers. Oh, something broke. I'm going to beg for money from my subscribers. It's like, no. It is fine. Like, because the thing is, like, when I will actually need money, I may not be able to beg them. It's 5 a.m. for those of you who asked. Yeah, it's just a technical issue. Also, apparently, I got banned by the Christians on Twitter. This happened, yes. I got banned for 10 hours for being naughty to the Christians. I understand, like, Christians are for free speech, but they just want to ban pornography. And when I went, it's like, okay, so you're for free speech, excellent. And I started blaspheming, and apparently no, like, they're for free speech, but pornography, and now they also apparently are adding blaspheming, right? So like, they're for free speech, but the list can always expand. So we need to be happy that so far is just blasphemic and pornography. But we need to also pray to God that the list doesn't expand any further, right? So we need to be happy that the Christians are in power and therefore free speech, but the list keeps getting larger and larger. And by the way, pornography on Twitter means anything that can stimulate, right? So like if you watch something and you get a big cock, whether it's a statue of Venus, whether it's a comic book that's safe for work, whether it doesn't matter, the Christians don't like it. And if the Christians don't like it, you're not allowed to have it, right? Because they can't live in a society where you enjoy comic books and video games. And so now they're rage baiting on Twitter hard. They keep posting like these things, ban porn, in order to get people agitated. And when people get agitated, they report and mass flag. So if you do engage with the Twitter conversation, take into account that you need to be extremely civilized to the Christian and show them the same respect that you would show a transgender person under the Jack Dorsey's Twitter. Okay. Anyway, KK member for 2 months. Thank you. Christians are the so-called right woke. The problem with the Christians, it's a little bit more different. Okay. There are actually good Christians out there. It's kind of like Hamas. You know, like Hamas, the terrorist organization. Like they use civilians as a shield. And if you attack them, they go like, oh my goodness, look what you did to the civilians. It's the same with the Christians. Like there are Christians that are genuinely decent folk and common sense, and they have the ability to live in a secular nation. Like they create their own communities, their own families, and they live amongst themselves, and they have their own morality, and that's fine, you know. They get upset if you go into their community and you start starting shit there, right? Like that's their line, which makes them pretty much respectable, right? Like I have no problem with that, because I also am an atheist, and I don't like to see when atheists go out of their way in order to bother other people. It's like, okay, like if we live in our atheist community and we have like our own philosophy and our own morality and shit, we wouldn't like if a Christian comes here, but like we're not going to go to them either, right? So like this is, I guess like the perfect common ground, right? It's like you have your shit over there, I have my shit over there. Doesn't mean like we can't interact, doesn't mean like we can't cooperate, but there are like just like some boundaries, right? Like you have your boundaries, I have mine. And so like these are the decent Christians, and I have nothing against them. But there are the other Christians that like they can't be happy unless I'm miserable, right? Like they need to tell me from over the sea how I need to live life in my family and with my community. Now I don't get to do that to them, right? Like I can't impose my morality on them. It's just a one-way street, which is pretty much why a lot of people were upset about the woke, because they did the exact same thing. And so when you attack these people, they will claim, oh, it's an attack on Christianity as a whole. It's like, well, no, it's not, because apparently a lot of you guys, you know how to be civilized. I'm only talking about the savages on Twitter that rage bait in order to get monetization, like I assume Jesus asked them to. So anyway, Jake Martin, thank you for the $5. I appreciate it. But yeah, no, like all in all, you need to be careful, right? Because you go on Twitter, they are aggravating you. They're going to try to instigate you, to argue with them, and then they're going to report you. So, yeah. It's like Arch said, they were never really on our side. Yeah, it is what it is. The thing is, I actually hate it when left-wing governments get to win, because they raise my taxes. Like that's the thing that bothers me the most. You know, if they want to ban entertainment, like that's fine. I have AI, and I can have my own entertainment on my computer that's self-generated. I don't need the help of anyone else, right? And so like if they want to ban the internet, that's okay. The problem that I have is like when left-wingers win elections, they raise my taxes, they cause inflation, they lower my lifestyle. And so I would prefer if right-wingers keep winning elections. But if you're going to have like the killjoys, like the people that go after everything that's fun, and the level of arrogance to go to another community and force your community values on the other community, is going to cause strife and dissent. Now, it's not going to be that people that are for the freedom ideology, you know, that they're not going to vote left now. At least not yet. You know, like maybe in the future if the left gets a platform for freedom, like it's possible, like it happens every 20 years or so. Maybe they will get the vote of the independents. But right now, the independents, they're not going to vote left. But what they may do is they may just not show up for vote, right? Like when they see a right-wing meme, they may not promote it. They may not retweet it. When they hear right-wing messages, they may not pass them further. And so I don't think like right wingers have the numbers because there is a coalition among the right, and not everyone is a Christian. Like they have like a lot of people, and it's also donors and backers and people that spend money on stuff, right? And so like if you're going to alienate all those people, I mean, good luck. You know, the reason that Obama won is the same reason that Trump won. And it can also be the same reason that probably not next elections, but the elections after that, you're going to notice that you're losing. It is what it is, you know. I guess this is the American way. Like you have every 20 years or so the generation gap, which is very resentful of how the previous generation fucked with them. Because a lot of stuff that the Christians are doing now is to fuck with the woke, right? Like it's not necessarily like improving the country. It's not necessarily helping anyone. It's just like sadism, which is understandable. Like, don't get me wrong. Like the way that the woke treated the Christians is horrible. You know, bake the cake type of things. Like, no, I get it. But it's fine if there's like a little bit of revenge. You know, like it's fine if you decide to go after them for like 2 or 3 years. But like after that, like there needs to be at some point a way to figure out how both people can coexist. Like I'm just saying, you know, like maybe I'm wrong. What the fuck knows? But like if you're not, then eventually there's going to come a time when they're going to win elections and they're going to come after us. Probably much harder than they did up until now. There is now a growing trend, especially in the UK, that more and more people are just leaving the country. That's actually a good thing. I know it sounds bad. It sounds like fleeing the country. But if you look at the current system as a medieval system, where you're basically working the land of the noble, and you're the peasant farming the noble's land, and the noble abuses you, the only solution out of the system is to go find another noble. Because if you keep staying at your noble, you're constantly feeding him, right? So like people that stay in the UK and they have jobs and stuff, like you're paying to the government that's abusing you. And so like the government can actually have all of these AI and all of these experts and all of the bureaucracy to keep messing with you, simply because like it exploits its people. But if the people leave, then the government collapses. And this is why the Soviet Union actually built the border. They built the Berlin Wall to prevent people from leaving. Because like the Soviet Union experienced the same problem. Like you had scores of people just trying to flee. And they were like, okay, well, we're going to stop that from happening. Right? And so, yeah, like if people leave the United Kingdom, that's actually a good thing. See, a lot of people say, well, no, you need to stay and fight. But like, the idea of fighting, like what is the government using to fight against you? It's using your own money, right? Like they're actually exploiting people in order to be able to afford the riot police, to be able to afford the CCTV cameras, to be able to afford all of this shit. And so like if people stay, they're being exploited. Unless if you stay and you're a burden on the system, like that would probably make sense, right? Like if you're on welfare and you stay there, okay, fine. Like if you're an elderly person that's getting a pension and is using the NHS, sure. But if you're a person like Sargon that has his own company and he pays probably hundreds of thousands of pounds in taxes, then no. The UK even introduced an exit tax now because there are so many millionaires leaving. Yeah, but take into account the exit tax is paid only once. The exit tax is also another leftist invention, right? In order to try and stop their bad policies that they constantly are doing. But yeah, no, they know that this is the only way they can be defeated. I don't think like the current system of mass surveillance can be defeated by protesting or rioting or anything like that. Simply because it's too good, right? Like the government now is actually God. It actually knows everything you're talking. It actually knows what your likes are. It knows what your bank transactions are. And they can just terminate your life with a switch, right? A flip of a button, and all of a sudden you're unemployed and you can't talk to anyone and you can't travel. And so you can't really protest. Because like if you protest, they do the Chinese thing now. I've seen like the recent British protests. They allow you to protest for one day, and then they come into the middle of the night and just arrest the protest leaders. And so the only way to actually fight this type of system is to disengage, to stop funding it. And if you go away, then they don't have the money to finance their AIs, their CCTV, all of the other shit. SRC Maker, thank you for the $10. Weird stream time. Well, it's just like when I woke up, because like I completely messed my sleeping schedule, not having a monitor. It's like literally not having what to do, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go to bed at a normal hour, and so I woke up at 5, and I'm like, okay, I may stream now because I don't know what I'm going to do later. By the way, I got the restriction on Sitar as well. It doesn't say what I did though. Someone didn't like my shit memes, I guess. Yeah, this is what happened to me. Like as I talked before you joined, there's a lot of Christians now that are incredibly antagonistic. Like they actually curse, they use slurs, they attack people with burner accounts in order to try to get you to respond. And if you respond to them, they report your posts. And so be careful. What can I say? Be very civilized. Treat them the same way you treated a trans person during the Jack Dorsey's era. Make no mistake, the Antifa crowd can be arrested at any point in time. The problem in the UK is not Antifa. The United Kingdom actually never had a strong Antifa group. They operate differently. Germany has a strong Antifa group though. But no, like the problem in the United Kingdom is the surveillance state, I guess. They even have like this thing, they call it nudging. I'm not kidding. Like they have a government institution that's called nudging. And it's like how to slowly incentivize the population, how to manipulate the public to do the things you want. And so the example is with the digital ID, right? It's like you need an ID in order to get to work. It's nudging. They created this during COVID, basically. Where it's like, the first time it's like the vaccine is free and it's advertised that, hey, why don't you go get it? And when enough people get it, then they start making it mandatory, right? And they're basically expecting that the people that got the vaccine are going to pressure the others that didn't. And it's very effective, right? But it's also not very democratic. Because they also rely on censorship, they also rely on underhanded tactics in order to do this, so. I'm lucky for getting taxed twice by different governments for working in a foreign nation. And it was for my own government as that as well. Wait, don't you have like tax treaties between your countries? Because like there's a lot of content creators in my country, and technically when you're doing Instagram or when you're on YouTube or stuff, like you're actually working in Ireland, right? Because like YouTube is an Irish is located in Ireland, and so you're taxed there, and then you're taxed here, but like there's a tax treaty, and the accountant does the magic, and they figure out how you can actually pay less taxes. So maybe you should look into that. Of course, maybe your country doesn't have a tax treaty, and then you're fucked. Yeah, like you can be taxed in two places. The IRS is basically a terrorist organization. Oh my goodness! Like you need to see like the Romanian Anafura, and then you can make a comparison with the IRS. It's not as bad as you think. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like tax collectors have been hated throughout human history. I mean, there's no time or place when people like their tax collectors. Even Jesus, like even Jesus in the Bible was actually, I don't know if I should say praised. I'm trying to look for the word here. People were admiring Jesus for actually hanging around with tax collectors, right? Because like in their mind, it's like I would never be able to do that. This is why Jesus is Jesus and he's perfect, because like he's got the ability to stand next to a tax collector and not chimp out. U.S. citizens are taxes worldwide, but all other nations don't have that because they couldn't enforce that. Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, I think like China may have it. But the way that international taxation works is that like obviously if you violate something from the German government, like you violate the German law, they're not going to send like, their Bundeswehr, like their special forces into America in order to arrest you. But what they can do is usually international treaties, which usually go both ways, into making the European Union enforce their grievance. And then if America has, and I think like they do have like laws with the EU files to the American courts, and the American courts are going to seize your assets. So yeah, no, America isn't the only one that can affect this type of thing where they can tax you, even if you're outside of the U.S. Jesus is a better man than all of us. Yeah, no, I do agree with that. Like again, he he broke bread with tax collectors. A lot of people are surprised. It's like, oh yeah, well he interacted with prostitutes. It's like, yeah, like, a prostitute is a prostitute. Like, this is the thing. Like, I have a different Eastern European mentality. It's like, okay, the prostitute is out there in the street, right? Unless she's my daughter or my son visits her, I don't fucking care. Let her do her prostitution. That's fine. But the tax collector is the type of person that's hounding me, is the type of person that's invested in my existence. And so the idea that another human being like Jesus was hanging around with tax collectors without chipping out, it's something that makes me go, wow. I wouldn't be able to do that. Like that is so strong of him, That is definitely awe-inspiring. No, you cannot link the video. Christian nation ruled by tax collectors. Oh my god. Well, I guess this is true, right? It is fucking true, yeah. He also turned the tables in the temple. Do you know, actually, like, I looked at different Christian denominations to make a Twitter post, and some of the most interesting Christians are the woke Christians. Like, the woke Christians are usually evangelicals, or no, it's mostly actually evangelicals that flip left, right? But they still love Jesus. And so their interpretation of Jesus flipping tables is that Jesus was actually fighting the imperial capitalist Romans, and he was fighting for the marginalized folk when he flipped the tables. Jesus was a social justice warrior. I'm not kidding. Like, I tried to look into the insanity that the left does with religion, and yeah, like, they pretty much like repurpose Jesus to focus on the social justice activism, while completely ignoring every other thing that goes against modern social justice. To be fair, I mean, this is the danger of sola scriptura, right? Like, just reading the Bible, because like what you're reading is a mirror. So you're basically like going to find the things in the Bible that promote your ideology, while you can ignore the things that go against it. Anyone who uses a prostitute should be mocked by others for engaging their service in their community. Do you know what's interesting though? I was looking at the various denominations to see what they think of prostitutes, and there is this guy called Aquinas. Aquinas is actually incredibly important, mostly in the Orthodox religion, but it's also for the Catholics. He's got like a very, very interesting lifestyle. At some point, he was supposed to go into the Dominican order, I think, and his family didn't want him to do that because it would require a lot of time spent and a lot of I guess separation from his family while he would perform that. And so like they locked him in a tower and they sent prostitutes to him. The idea was that it would create a scandalum. That's how the Catholics consider it, a scandalum, and would discredit him from joining the order. And what he does is like he gets a log from the fireplace and starts chasing the prostitutes. And after the prostitutes leave, like, he slams the door and uses the log in order to draw a cross on the door. So he's like the Chad of the medieval time, right? Like the Thomas Aquinas. And he actually talks about brothels, like how he feels about brothels. And he's got a very pragmatic view on them. He calls them a necessary evil. And you can go on, like, if you want the exact quote, go on any AI, it doesn't matter, Gemini, Grok, whatever it is, because they're kind of like a library, and tell it to pull up that quote. I can't do it because my monitor is broken now. But basically he compares brothels with the drainage pipe from a castle. And he says that without the brothels, the water just collects and collects and collects and causes a flood. So he's basically saying that, yes, like, brothels are bad, They are sinful, and in a perfect world they shouldn't exist. But they are like a release valve that prevents men from doing worse things in a society. And this is in 1274. This is also like what the Orthodox Church thinks. And the idea is like, okay, if you have like certain evils, whether it's gambling, prostitution, drinking, the solution is not to ban them. The solution is to heavily regulate them and make it so that pious people don't have to see them, right? Like put them out of the way, regulate it, because otherwise you end up with what happened in America under the Prohibition. Otherwise you end up with what's happening right now in South Korea when they decided to ban porn. It basically makes people like if watching a hentai is now considered the same level of crime as going to a brothel, then why just not go to the brothel? You know, if in South Korea raping a woman is also the same crime as making a deep fake, then why make the deep fake? Like this is what a lot of people through history have discovered. Like if you make two things criminal activities, like both of them are crimes and they're punished similarly, and one of them provides like more satisfaction to the criminal than the other, then most criminals are going to just choose to go for the maximum satisfaction because it's the same punishment, right? Like it's the same in the eyes of the state. It's the same crime. So like there's no reason to try to do a little crime that's going to be punished the same like a big crime when the big crime gives you the better reward. So yeah. But I also think like this may also be why in the golden era of video games violence actually went down, right? There are studies and show that it's not 100% correlation and causation, but it is interesting to notice that in the golden era of video games, like when video games were extremely popular and they were cultural phenomenons, violence did go down dramatically. And so it is actually possible that back then, people that do have like violent tendencies and stuff would manage to get a release valve by simply sitting there and playing online. I think it's a little bit more complex than that, though. I think it's more like if you're a teenager, right? Like one of the desires for teenagers is to prove themselves, is to show that they're better, is to dominate others of their age. And so one way to do it is through the gang system, right? Like that's traditional in low-income areas, low-income neighborhoods. Like they go out, they form gangs, and they dominate each other, right, on the streets. But what if like they're still poor, but they can sit at home and play video games, right? And they can dominate each other by winning online competitions and shit. And maybe that's enough. Maybe that's enough to stimulate the young man's ego, so that he doesn't actually have to go outside and impress others by committing delinquent activity. It's just a theory. I don't know. But what I do know is that the statistics are pretty clear on this. Like when video games were a thing, the violent crime level was dropping down dramatically. The feminization of the church has led Christians to focus on petty things, like folks too edgy for church over commie subversion. I don't know, like the church has feminization. I mean, kinda, I guess. Depends on the denomination, depends on the type of church. But it is like a lot of focus on petty things. I mean, if you're going to start focusing on video games when your pope is basically saying that actually more immigrants is good, I don't know what to say. I don't think religion is all about being on Twitter and criticizing people from other nations about the type of hobbies and entertainment they have. Like, yeah, like this is the very definition of petty. But I guess the reason they're doing it is because it gives them the moral high ground, right? Like demeaning others make you look moral. And so they're addicted to that. It's pretty much what the social justice were addicted to, right? Like the whole point was to demean others, call them bigots, racists, xenophobes, transphobes, and it's like, oh, we're more enlightened than you because we don't behave like that, even though they did. Frog Jupiter, our society completely knows their 13-year-old watches the most degenerate video, but the tasteful bear is too much. I don't know, like, see, I hear this thing where like the 13-year-old watches the most degenerate stuff. Is it true though? Like I grew up and I didn't watch like the most degenerate stuff when I was 13. And like you can have parental controls, right? I mean, when I was 13, I didn't have internet. I didn't have a calculator, but I did see porn. There were like those porn magazines in Romania that you could buy from convenience stores. And back then they would sell it to kids no problem. Like you could buy a Playboy magazine. You could buy like there was this thing called Okay Madame. And we actually had them at school and shit. Like we would share them on the playgrounds and stuff. Kind of like prisoners that are sharing contraband. But like it wasn't an obsession or anything. It's like, okay, yeah, they exist, and it was almost comical, or we were laughing at it. But are like 13-year-olds now like into the most degenerate stuff imaginable? Because again, like I don't know, I didn't live through that time, you know. Like I'm not living now as a 13-year-old, so I generally don't know what they're doing. But if that's the case, like, can't you install a parental control on your computer? Like, there's so many ways that you can talk to your ISP to help you navigate and figure out how to restrict websites and shit. You know, again, like, I'm just a little bit bewildered because, like, all this conversation came up recently. Like, no one talked about this 5 years ago. Like, this wasn't even, like, something up to discussion, you know? And now everyone is freaking out that a 16-year-old may see some tits. I mean, okay, sure, I guess. So like, the age of consent means that he can actually have sex and have kids at 16 in most countries. But if he watches a character from Nikkei that's fully clothed, like, that's too much? Why? Because the Americans don't like it? Okay, sure, but is it, like, a reason to abolish anonymity on the internet and have digital ID? You know, this is kind of like saying, okay, well, kids shouldn't drive cars. And theoretically, yes. But if a 16-year-old drives a car, is it really that much of a problem? Okay, fine. Let's say they shouldn't. Okay, fine. No 16-year-olds should drive cars because we have statistics and they kill people. Okay, fine. But like, with the solution to have like all the electric cars now that are coming out, right? Like all the Teslas, to require you to show digital ID that goes in a cloud in your picture in order to justify that you're not a kid? And if you're not okay with this, it means that you want kids to drive and you want people to die? Like, is this an argument that we're going with? Like, is it fucking insane? You know? Legality isn't morality. Yeah, I mean, if you're forced to do something, it's not because it doesn't make you a moral person, right? But I also think, like, it depends on people to people. Like, there are some kids, in my opinion, that at the age of 16 can run a business. Like, I know these, because I grew up with some of them. And yeah, like, in my class, like, there were 16-year-olds that, unironically, could have run a business at that age. Just fine. And there's other kids that at the age of 24, I wouldn't trust them with anything. Like, I wouldn't trust them with a laptop. Like, no, they're still incapable of doing anything, right? Like look at all those Marxists that shave their hair and shit. Like, those aren't grown adults. They're not capable of any type of critical thinking. And so, the parent actually knows better what type of kid they have and what they're capable of. And so, it should be a case-by-case basis rather than, like, these clear-cuts do's and don'ts that, in my opinion, they're bewildering. You can get your license at 15. Well, I guess it depends on the country, right? Like, in my country, it's 18. So, like, if a nation thinks that their population is capable of getting a license at 15, like, why should my country impose our morality on them? The best argument for digital ID that is going to get the majority of normies is convenience. Yeah, pretty much. And the thing is that normies don't get it. It's like, okay, how does it affect me? Which, you know, it's not necessarily a bad question. Like, if someone goes like, how does it affect me? The solution isn't to mock or ridicule them and show them the meme with the Roman Empire. The solution is to actually try and explain to them how it affects them. It's a fair question, right? Like, if it doesn't affect me, why should I care? You know, some whale washes on a beach. Why should I give a shit? I don't care about whales. And so, like, explaining to someone how it affects them may actually get them to care. Showing them a meme that's like, oh, the Roman Empire fell. Why am I caring? Okay, the reason you should care is because the only reason politicians aren't enslaving you, and trust me, they do want to, is because they're afraid that people may actually rise up. And it can happen. The very fact that you think it can't happen is because politicians are invested into making you believe that they can never be overthrown, right? That their system is perfect. And to be fair, like, the system has a lot of safeguards to make sure that people can't rise up. But it is possible, though, you know, like, if people, like, systemically and for a decade or so, like, generally want to uproot their politicians, they will be able to. And we can see this with what's happening in America right now. I mean, the left was controlling entertainment, they were controlling the universities, they were controlling the schools, they were controlling everything, right? Even politics. And yet, despite all this, you now get to see a purge of everything that's woke. And so, this can happen, right? And so politicians are invested in making sure that it doesn't happen. Now, if politicians know for sure that it can't happen, because they have digital ID, control, surveillance, all of that, then they can start raising your taxes, then they can start grifting, because this is what politicians really want, right? Like, they're not comic book evil, where they're like just doing evil for the evil's sake. Like, no, they want power and wealth. And so they start grifting. They start making the USAID shit. They start, working with big pharma to fuck up your kids, or they're working with the FDA to poison your food. Like, anything that's profitable, right? Like, everything that makes money, everything that's a grift, they will start doing it. And the problem is, like, when you start complaining about it, and you're like, well, hold on a little bit, this is fucked up, then your digital ID gets flagged. And all of a sudden, you complained on Twitter for the first time. Maybe you're not even an activist. Maybe you're just concerned about something. A rape happened in your neighborhood and it's gruesome. And so you're complaining about it. Boom, it gets flagged. Now you can't take money off the bank. Now you can't drive any public vehicle. And all of a sudden you realize, oh shit, like, it would have been such a good idea if this system didn't exist. From Jupiter, thank you for another $5. Kangling Lee reinforces my belief that Koreans are a troll race. A mere 2 weeks after being oppressed, he asked for more. Give Korea's independence. They create North Korea and South Korea. The only difference is that until the 90s, is that South Korea respected property rights. Well, I'm not going to go that far. I mean, if you look from the satellite, you can see the difference between North and South Korea. But yeah, so, like, for those of you who don't know, Kang Min Lee is a Korean Christian, I believe. And he made the video where he showed how he talked about getting fired. And he was very upset because he got fired due to his conservative beliefs. And he was asking for sympathy, like, he was asking for people to help him out because now he's out of a job. And I myself, I was like, okay, this is fucked up, like, getting fired for your conservative beliefs. Like, no one deserves something like that. I shared this video, I retweeted it. And then, like, a couple of weeks later, he makes a video advocating to ban pornography. Now, I just want you to understand what that means. Like, first of all, the definition they use for pornography applies to comic books, manga, video games. So, like, basically, all those people should be out of a job, right? Like, America already did that with the Comics Code Authority. And they got, like, the entire horror genre destroyed. They got the entire crime investigator genre destroyed. Like, you had tens of thousands of people running out of a job, right? Like, people that are invested into making a video game or a comic book, like, some of them are sound designers, some of them are writers, some of them are voice actors. Like, all of them should now lose their job. Because this guy, he can't live in a place where you are buying a comic book from a guy that wants to sell it to you. And he's not happy. Like, he requires your misery for him to be happy. And so this bewildered a lot of people, right? Like, this upset a lot of people because it's like, well, hold on a little bit. Like, you got fired and we're basically agreeing with you that's fucked up. But now you're like telling us, no, like, we need to now suffer because you get to speak. And so this caused, like, this very bizarre separation, I guess, within the right. Because, like, there are the people that genuinely care about free speech and free expression. And this is mostly why they're on the right. They're not Christians. But, like, they just want to live their lives. They want to have their communities where at least the petty shit is non-negotiable. You know, it's like, at least just leave me alone with my hobbies, right? Like, my hobbies aren't destroying your society. Stop pretending it does. We don't agree that they do. Like, you have the option of because like, here's the other thing. Like, I would understand if people went to his timeline and shoved like smooth comic books down his face. Like, I would get it if people went to his house and started giving like manga to his kids that has like lewd depictions. Then he would have a right to be angry. Then I would understand, right? Like, if the smooth was forced upon him, right? I would understand his grievance. But because it's not, because it just like happens to be there, and he just can't sleep at night knowing that the neighborhood away someone is doing something he doesn't like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And usually when you press them on this, they're like, oh, well, but don't you think like murder and theft? It's like, no, shut the fuck up, okay? Someone making a comic and someone else buying it is nowhere near the level of murder and theft that you're talking about. His job must have been working for the bank boss, says Dark Mark, and thank you for the super chat. How can they cat it if they leave you alone? Well, it's this thing where I don't even know if it's legit or if it's being astroturfed. Because as I said at the beginning of the stream, I think a lot of it is astroturfed. The way modern astroturfing works is not to just like generate a controversy out of the blue. Because that's not effective, you know? Like, if it's completely fake, people call it out. But if you have like individuals that already are trying to push for something that you want, so for instance, ban porn in order to have digital ID, right? The moment someone says ban porn, let's say like normally no one would care, right? Like, no one would watch that. They would be like, ah, well, okay. But if you put bots and you amplify his message, and now he's got like 10,000 likes, which are unorganic, then it sparks the conversation, right? Like, now you have like legitimate people join. And if you say that, well, the guy is botting or astroturfing, like, you will have the actual people say like, no, we're real people. What are you talking about? And that's how you manipulate the public. Like, imagine if Anita Sarkeesian was today, right? And she has like some of the most dumb takes, but like artificially botted. You are going to have like the soy boys that would normally retweet her, but now it looks like the soy boys are 10 times or 20 times their numbers. Which is pretty much how Anita also managed to become influential, right? It was the newspapers, The Guardian, the BBC, that constantly parroted and retweeted her. SRC Baker says, that's why I'm on the right. First Amendment, Second Amendment, the concept of do what you will as long as it doesn't infringe on the rights of others, and low taxes. Yeah, a lot of people are like that, but again, the people on Twitter, they would rather individuals like us stop being on the right. And they always say, so like, just because you voted, does it mean that I will allow you to? It's like, oh, but that's the mentality, right? Allow. Like, who are you to decide what other adults are and aren't doing? It's so fucking insane. But they're rage baiting, you know, they're waiting for you to complain about it so that they can report your account now. Which means you have to be careful. You gotta be careful when you go on Twitter. It's dangerous now. Anyway, the journalists rallied behind Anita Sarkeesian. They did, yes. And now that the journalists aren't as influential, they just use content creators and botting. It amazes me how so many people agree to hand over all their production for government's money to only buy some of it back. You know, I think it's also the government wants people to remain ignorant. Like, they don't teach you anything about economics that's actually practical in schools, right? Like, they teach you about the LGBTs, they teach you about slavery, but they don't teach you how to start a business or how the economy actually functions. The ironic thing is that the digital ID is very close to the mark of the beast thing. Yeah, but like, this is what I find interesting, right? If Christians like genuinely cared about banning pornography, why are they not exploring any of the other options? Like, they're not exploring the option of having dumb phones for kids. They're not exploring the option of parental controls. They are pretending that unless you're okay with digital ID, then you want kids to watch porn. That's the argument. That's how they're framing it, right? It's like the only possibility in the entire universe, like everything else has been explored, and there's really no other option besides digital ID. And it's like, what the fuck? You know, like, obviously they don't. Like, at some point you have to assume that this is AstroTurf, because like, I gotta teach you, if I had the conversation with any religious person in Romania. And I explained to them, at a table, and I explained to them my arguments, and I listened to theirs. And I'm like, look, you want teenagers to not watch porn? It's like, okay, fine. My concern is that digital ID is going to remove internet anonymity. Can we not find another solution? Like, what if teenagers are forced to have dumb phones? You find a teenager with a smartphone, then you ask them where they got it, and you give a fine to that person. I'm pretty sure, like, they will find common ground. Like, they would understand the conversation, right? But what I see on the internet is that they all have the exact same talking points. Like, literally, it's almost like when you talk to one, it's like you talk with all of them, and they have the exact same talking points and the exact same reactions. Like, if you, for instance, say, no, digital ID is bad, so you want teenagers to watch porn. Say, what the... No. Anyway. Oh, shit, my volume was bad. Why did no one told me that the volume was bad? Like, at the end of the stream, I figured out that the volume was bad. I found it interesting that authoritarian countries like the United Arab Emirates are less concerned with digital ID and stuff like the so-called democracies. They will probably get concerned, right? The thing is, like, from what I understand, in UAE, almost every citizen is rich as fuck. And so, like, when you have people that are insanely rich, you can't really control them that well because they're not allowed to drink. Okay. They can just spend their money to go to Vegas. Like, they pick a flight to Vegas. They sit there for like 6 months. They drink, they whore, they do everything that they're not supposed to. And then they come back home. And no one complains. Like, there are people that work at Vegas that I talked to. And they told me, like, they saw a sheik taking a shit in an elevator. And it's like... Why did he take a shit in the elevator? Well, he was drunk and wasted. And the reason he took a shit is just to show that he can. Because he had the money to do that. And then he was offering to buy the entire place when people complained, right? And the thing is, like, he could actually buy the entire place, but by the next day he woke up from his drunken stupor, right? And so this is why, like, places like the UAE aren't so interested in control. You really can't control people that are this wealthy. You genuinely can't. Like, you can put the rules in your country, but then they fly away, and they do everything they want somewhere else. I think I heard the Saudi royals don't subscribe to the religious stuff. They probably do, but like in a different measure, right? Like they're obviously not going to be extremely pious. But yeah, no, like they do go to Vegas, they do drink, right? So I know like one of them actually has a Steam account, so they play video games and stuff. It was a big reason Prohibition failed in the 20s and the 30s. The same people that pushed for the ban also don't want to fund institutions that needed to enforce it. It's kind of like, you know what I think happened with the Prohibition? I genuinely believe that most people didn't want it, and they were kind of like there is this thing in the Anglosphere where caring about your reputation is incredibly important, right? Like saving face. And so a lot of people just go with what the culture is at the time. And if the culture is that alcohol is bad, and if you're for alcohol, you're for wife beating, then it makes sense if you pretend at least that, yeah, it's really bad, it's really bad. And so when it was banned, a lot of people probably didn't want it banned. And I'm pretty sure like a lot of politicians still drank alcohol. Especially since alcohol like is very easily created, right? Like you don't need it's not like cocaine where you need like plantations of the stuff and you know someone traveling down the street can see your coca plant. It's more like anyone can do it in a bathroom, right? And so yeah, like probably a lot of politicians still drank alcohol, and they probably made a lot of money on fining people, and they also created the mafia, which you know, you can also make the argument that, well, wasn't it better that they were selling alcohol and not trafficking in prostitution and shit? Like you can make the argument from that point of view, because the mafia always exists, right? Yeah. See, the thing with the prohibition is like a lot of people say, well, society has fallen because women were given the right to vote. Even before women were given the right to vote, women were very influential. Like the prohibition is an example, right? And even like the first feminist movements, like women have this power of nagging, and men actually care what women want. And so like even if women don't vote, they can pressure their men to become soy boys. Like we're seeing now, like how many soy boys you have on the internet, even though they never met a woman, right? But they're soying for like their favorite e-creator and shit, and running her drama wars and stuff. And so like yeah, even before like women having a right to vote, you still had the ability of women to manipulate men into getting what women wanted, and the prohibition is a really good example of it. um Anyway, chat. I think like my monitor is about to die, so I'm going to end it here. Thank you for listening. Sorry for the weird hour, but I wanted to tell you that I'm still alive, and I'll probably start streaming at the original time tomorrow. I did miss some of you guys, like that I'm seeing in the chat right now, like Tentacle Pentacle. I haven't seen you in a lot of streams, um, and so like maybe streaming at a different hour helped. But yeah, maybe I'll get Madame Savi on. I'll talk to her, see if she wants to. And if not, I'll try to reach out to other content creators, and maybe I can do more collabs. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and hopefully you'll enjoy the videos on my other channels. And